got the Sylvan all hooked up again. It looks like I'm going to go ahead and try Indian Lake. The wind looks like it's really picking up, but I just checked the forecast. The high wind's only supposed to be around 11, 12 degrees. Because I used my trolling motor and battery all day yesterday, I'm definitely going to throw upwind. In case something happens, I can always float back, and I've got that paddle with me, that big kayak wooden paddle with me if I need to paddle back. So let's go ahead and go on down there. Yeah, and see if we can get on the water, see what it'll do. We'll see. I'm only planning on maybe fishing until afternoon sometime, but we'll see. Might fish till dark. I doubt it. If fishing have to be awful good for me to stay out there that long again. All right, let's go. Would go ahead and launch the Sylvan. Everything went good. It didn't look like I had a lot of room. It looked like the exhaust was pretty dang close to the bottom, but I got it launched. That's all that matters. So I can tell what's going to come into play today. Boy, look at these sycamores right here. Wow. Those are beautiful trees. So what's going to come into play today is going to be this wind. And I can already tell it's pretty dang windy out here right now. It seemed like Indian Lake, I've been out here before. Oh yeah, it's gusting. Yeah, it's gusting big time out there. That's some pretty good sized gusts right there coming through. Okay, well I'm here at the boat dock. I've got the Sylvan in the water. Man, it is windy. Bad thing is where the boat dock is, not far from here, right down there is the dam. So the lake is not very big, and that is upwind. So I almost have to head in that direction in order to watch and conserve the battery life on my battery. I'm a little bit concerned about that. What I think I can do is I can get up here. If nothing else, I'll just get up here and throw an anchor in, try to hold the Sylvan, do a little fishing. If the wind just continues to pick up like this, just have to call it quits for the day. Yeah, this is interesting when you work with wind like this. See, what's going to happen here, as soon as I undo the rope to the dock here, and I get past this dock, as soon as I do that, the back end's going to want to go this way, which I guess is good because it's going to send my front end with the trolling motor in the right direction up into the wind. So that would be a pretty good thing. I'll try to give myself a pretty good push to get out here. You don't definitely want to get in these weed beds like this right here. I would be stuck forever in there. So we're going to give it a shot. Look at that. It's even white capping out there. It's pretty unusual to see white caps out on a little lake like this, but it's starting to white cap. I'd like to fish that dam if I could. That dam, if I get up against that dam, I may try to get out of the wind right there too. I'm going to give it a shot. All right. I say we give it a shot and see what happens. Woo. That's going to be windy for sure. I don't know. I see a point right up here. I'm going to try to go around that point and just try to be right there. Trolling motor is on number 5 and it's barely pushing me fast big wind gust coming up right here. Well, that's about all we can do is just go for it now. Got little waves rolling in here. Yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to get out of this wind. They said only 11 miles an hour today, but I tell you what, this feels a lot stronger than that. Of course, I think Indian Lake is elevated. Even though most lakes are lower, I think this is kind of like a, you know, not like a mountain lake, but I think it is a little higher than most lakes are in southern Indiana. Well, I'm just going to keep on going. I was going to go to this little cove right over here. I was going to try to get to that little cove right there, but I can see that it's just going to push me right in those weed beds. So I'm going to just go over here, get on this east bank and try to get up as far as I can up around this dam right here area and see if I can't do any good. Yeah, you never know. Never know on an adventure. Hey, I'm glad I got out here though. The micro SD card that I've got, it did work, so I'm in good shape. I don't have that camera hooked up right now, but I will. I'm trying to get over here out of the wind if possible, and really I can't fish or anything. I just need to control this trolling motor and just keep going. But the thought popped in my head, hey, have you had any summer adventures? Did you guys get to go anyplace? Did you see anything new? Hey, 2023, the summer of 2023 is coming to a pretty fast ending here. Personally, I think it was a pretty good summer. I got to do a lot of things. I didn't go very far from home. You know, 10, 12 mini adventures, that equals to a big adventure, you know. What's kind of funny is I found this out with the pandemic a few years ago when it hit hard, that there are so many places here in southern Indiana that I've really never discovered before. I mean, I'd kind of passed through, but it kind of slowed me down a little bit. And you know what they say is slow down, take time to smell the flowers and the roses. It might be interesting what you find. And that's exactly what I've done. So hey, leave it in the comments. Did you go anywhere this summer? I hope you did. Hey, if you didn't make it out yet, don't fret about it. You still have the fall coming up, which is always beautiful weather. And then we'll prepare for a winter, no telling. With the earth changing the way it is, who knows? It may be a cold winter, maybe a warm winter. Don't know. Boy, there's a wind gust right there. Woo! I'm a windsurfer, and I tell you what, when you're a windsurfer, you learn to read the water. The water is everything when it comes to wind, and you learn to watch the wind, and you learn that the big gusts coming across the water is just like catching a big wave. You watch it come, and you turn around, and you get your sail just right, and here it comes, and bam, you just catch it, and away you go, flying off there. I see a nice cove right over here. We're going to pull in there, go ahead and put anchor down, get everything ready, hook my other camera up, and kind of go from there. But you see how that water is a lot calmer because of this bend straight ahead. It kind of, that bend sticks out, this comes in right here, and so that's why that water's calmer. That's what you want to look for, places like that right there. Ooh, I even see some shade right here. That's one thing I was thinking is this wind, I wonder how this top right here is affecting the wind. The other day I was thinking going across Salina, it was hurting. Never know, it could be acting like a hydrofoil and kind of lifting the boat and making it go across the water easier. I don't know. But yeah, we're going to park right here in this shade. All right. That worked out pretty good. You know, isn't it amazing? I mean, right here, look how there's not a lot of wind at all, and yet it's gusting that bad out there. So a lot of times you just read the water, you get it done. soon as you get out of that wind, it gets warm too, real fast. We have had an absolute ton of rain. I think 2 or 3 days ago we had 3 inches of rain in a 24-hour period. So these lakes are definitely high. I'm kind of wondering if that didn't affect my fishing yesterday, because I thought I had Celina Lake patterned out pretty good. The last time I was there, you know I hooked into 4 or 5 pretty good sized bass and probably lost about that many more. Yeah, I didn't get them in the boat, but so I went back and did the exact same thing and nothing was working yesterday. So I kind of wonder if that's the deal, because it is so high. Check this out. Look how many of these little mini spiders there are on some kind of little bug on the water. Yeah, look how that wind is coming over the top of me, and that's about the place right there is where it comes over the top, comes back down, and hits the water. So I'm kind of sheltered right here as long as the wind doesn't change. But look at that gust right there. See the leading edge of that gust? That's strong. That's at least a 20-mile-an-hour wind, if not more. Wouldn't surprise me if I don't see any fishermen at all out here today with this wind. Yeah, right there's a conversion zone. It's blasting down, so the wind's coming from the south, I believe. And it's just not catching me in this little cove right here. That's a good thing. That dam there is a lot larger than the one over on Celina Lake. But I can really hear that overflow over there just spilling out, feeding the Anderson River. Here's another thing about Indian Lake compared to Celina Lake. Indian Lake is what I would call stained water. That's what Randy Blockett, that's what he calls it, stained water. He talks about it a lot, says the different fishing lures that you use really depends on the water clarity. I've seen Indian lakes look like chocolate milk. And I guess you can fish that. Hey, butterfly. You know, looking at that butterfly, I still have not seen one monarch this year. All this time in Hoosier National Forest, the yellow ones are quite numerous. The black ones are here. No orange monarchs. Have not seen one orange monarch yet. Man, something must have just wiped them out totally. It tells me they were here last year, except in limited number. It tells me when they migrate down to South America, something happened down there where they just got wiped out. I don't know. Sad thing to see. Now here's something to think about if you're into hiking and backpacking. I'm sitting on Indian Lake, and if you pull the map up, you'll see Indian Lake, Celina Lake, and then there's a 12-mile loop trail that goes all the way around both of them. For southern Indiana, it's a very good trail. The only trail would be tougher than it would be the Knobstone Trail, just by Salem, Indiana. You can look it up. That's a pretty tough trail. It goes through some pretty steep terrain. That's the trail that if any Midwesterners around here in this area want to train for the Appalachian Trail, that's where they do their training, on the Knobstone Trail. Right across the lake here, over here, when you cross Indian Lake Dam and you go up into the other side, which would be the west side of the Indian-Celina recreational area, that trail gets pretty tough. There's some pretty big hills back there that you have to climb, come back down, go back up, come back down. great camping places along the way. So if you're looking to backpack, that's the place to go right there. Now, you'll want to be sure and call ahead to make sure the whole route is open if you're wanting to do the whole route. Because at one time, last year or the year before, they started logging certain sections of it. They had closed certain sections so you couldn't actually do the whole loop all the way around. And in fact, in 2020, 2021, I was doing the trail maintenance on that trail. And then they started logging. They shut big sections down, and you couldn't even go around the whole thing. And I think a lot of people lost interest in the trail just because it wasn't a through hike trail. You couldn't go all the way around. I don't know. I lost track of all that. I don't know if they're still doing that or not, if they're still logging or not, or if it's all opened up. So call ahead, call the Tell City Ranger Station, talk to them about it. They should give you some information whether that trail is open all the way or not. Okay, well, the SD card, I thought it was going to work, and it's saying that it's too slow. The camera is running, so I'm not exactly sure how this film footage or anything is going to show up. So I hope it works. If it doesn't, we're back to the old school, turning my camera on if I catch fish. It's the way it goes. Remember this, next time, make sure I got multiple SD cards in case one fills up. In fact, I ought to have them on all my cameras just in case something happens. Because I'd hate to get like 10 miles down 12-mile beach and all of a sudden an SD card mess up and I don't have an extra one with me. That'd be fun. Now here's something I also added to my artillery of fish hunting products. I've got my anchor in right now. There it goes down at the bottom. Okay, and now the first 6 times I went out, I actually had a white rope on it. Something like this, except a little bit smaller. Then I got to thinking, you know what? That is so visible down in the water. Fish has got to see that. If fish are swimming by, they've got to see that. They've got to wonder what the heck's going on. So I went to Menards and I picked up some of this rope like this right here. This is the best thing that I could find. You know, it'd be nice if they made some kind of an anchor rope that was like invis fishing line, fluorocarbon fishing line. But I didn't see anything like that. But this here is kind of like a brown camouflage. And I just think it works a little bit better. I know just myself, I can't see it going in the water as near as well. So I'm hoping it works for the fish. It's time to start a little fishing. And I've got my line up here. This is the 4 I'm going to start with. And you know, I've kind of got a theory that when you're sitting in an area like this and you're anchored, whatever you throw first ought to be the one that you think is going to catch the most fish. Because I don't know, it just seems to me like if you park in an area and you throw something, then you throw something else, fish get a little suspicious because they see one thing going by, goes, nope, we don't like that. Another thing goes by, nope, and I think they just may get the hint somebody's just throwing stuff at them. That may be giving fish too much credit. I don't know. Maybe they're not real deep thinkers. Maybe they're reactionary and you could throw a dozen things they don't want and then one thing comes through and they'll just gobble it. Not sure. The one I am going to start out with is this one right here. This is a blue sapphire creature. It's got little swim legs behind it. I've got it hooked up on a worm hook with a bullet weight on it, and I'm going to try that one out. We're going to see if that works. Next in line, I'll definitely go with that little spinner, that Booyah spinner. I caught my bass yesterday. Everything was caught on that Booyah. I've got my frog on standby, and I've got this other little guy right here, a little crankbait. I like that little feather tail. It really wiggles through the water nice. So that's my lineup, so let's get to fishing. It is not supposed to rain, but man, the clouds are starting to puff up. We'll see what happens. I brought my rain jacket. The Sylvan knows how to go through a storm for sure. Fish in the boat. Fish in the boat. First fish on Indian Lake. Little bass. Hello, little bass. Hello, little guy. Look out. Look out, mister. Look out. Easy, buddy. Easy, buddy. Easy. Oh, look out. Fish in the boat. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. That's why those raccoons are trying to get my boat, because you're getting your smell all over my boat. Quit it. Quit it, little boy. All right, there we go. Fish in the boat. He's a baby bass. He's a baby bass, but he's got a lot of energy. Okay, there we go. Thank you, buddy. I'll be talking to you later. Indian Lake. Goodbye. Oh, stuck on my Band-Aid. Come on. There you go. Woo. All right, that's always a good feeling. Not a big bass, but hey, it's a bass, and I didn't get skunked. That's always a really good feeling not to get skunked right off the bat. Mr. Booyah, got him. Chartreuse black. Tiny, tiny little spinner. That's funny. Randy was talking about that. You go to a smaller spinner in the summer because the big bass will still bite it, but you'll probably start catching some smaller bass. Sure enough, that little guy nailed it. All right. Okay, there we go. Thank you, buddy. I'll be talking to you later. Indian Lake. Goodbye. Oh, stuck on my Band-Aid. Come on. Hey. Yeah, me and my daughter, Andrea, and our dog, Foxy, hiked this 12-mile trail one time. Long time ago. Andrea was probably 14 or 15, and now she's in her mid-30s. And what's funny is, back then, I didn't read maps and pay attention and plan as well as I do now. So I asked Andrea, I said, hey, I'm going to go for a hike. You want to go? And we planned it, and so we took off. We planned one day for it. And I looked at the map, and I looked at Indian Lake and Celina Lake, and I thought, okay, that shouldn't be too bad, circling these two lakes. Well, the thing is, if you look at the trail map, not just looking at a topographical map, but look at the trail map, the 12-mile loop trail map, and when you come to the end of Indian Lake down here, the trail goes way out into the forest. It goes up over that ridge over there and goes and makes a big loop way out there. I didn't realize that. So we got to that part over there to Indian Lake, and I said, well, Andrew, we're almost done. We didn't have a map with us or anything. We're almost done. We're here. Went around Indian Lake. No way. It took us so long. We were really tired when we got back. But Andrea did good, Foxy did good, and I did good. And we all made it, and it's a venture, and I've got a great picture of us all sitting together, and it's just one of those treasured moments you'll never forget. Well, it's called Indian Lake, yet the Indians don't own it. Why is that, my friend? It's called Indiana, yet the Indians don't own it. I guess there's mysteries that way. You know, speaking of Indian Lake, I met a guy one time, and he was from Greece. He was an older gentleman. Talking to him. He did live in America now, but you could definitely tell he had a Greek accent. I was talking to him, and he asked me where I was from, and I told him I'm from Indiana. He said, oh, Indiana. He said, well, that's where all the Indians live, right? Isn't that where all the reservations are? I said, no. In fact, I don't think there's any reservations in Indiana. He said, well, why is it called Indiana then? I said, you know, I don't know. It's called Indiana. But there sure ain't no reservations here that I know of. Maybe I need to look at the map and find out, but I always thought that was a little bit odd. said I want anything, and I recognition, not your way, that's all right, in the other side. No, baby, that's all it is, that's not what it's all about. Okay, I think I'm going to head across the river of wind, get to the other side. It's just so windy out here, it's just hard to maintain with the anchor, and the anchor keeps breaking loose. You know, there's good fishing days and there's bad fishing days. This is not a very good fishing day, so did get that one in the boat, but I think I'm going to go ahead and head back, break camp, and probably eventually head back to the cabin. Hey, I do appreciate you coming along. That's LAF Space Film Fest. That's capital LAF Space Film Fest. If you would, hammer down that subscribe button. I appreciate it. Helps me to come out here, fish lakes like this. Windy days, rainy days, sunny days. Try to pattern these big bass and figure out where they're at. When you eat the way I do, which is very low carbs or no carbs if possible, but that's almost impossible. So it's basically a keto health diet. Been on for over 2 years now. What's funny is you go into a grocery store like the size of a super Walmart. You walk in there and there's so many products, but you know, there are literally aisle after aisle that I learned I don't even walk down it, because there's nothing down that aisle that is not loaded with carbs. For instance, a chip aisle, you know, potato chips, corn chips, you know, some of them even say sun chips, some of them even claim to be healthy, but if you look at it, it's got a ton of carbs, and almost all of them have vegetable oil, which is even more poison than carbs. I was in there the other day and I found this right here, and it's blueberry cinnamon nut granola. So this is pretty good, and for a third of a cup, it has 9 carbs, 9 grams of carbs, but 3 of them are dietary fiber, 6 grams of carbs per third of a cup. That's pretty good, and it's very, very good. It reminds me almost like a cereal or something like that. They call it a trail mix, I guess. Yeah, 2 grams of net carbs. I don't know. I think that's a little false advertising. I'm figuring it as 7. I don't know how they're getting it 2. But anyways. Pretty good. And probably most of your carbs in here are coming from the blueberries. Because blueberries, I eat a lot of blueberries. And blueberries do have a lot of carbs in them, but they got a lot of nutrition value too. So sometimes you got to weigh, put that on the scale. And okay, more carbs, but a lot more nutrition. So you just gotta weigh that out sometimes. You know, I get a lot of people ask me, you know, Mr. Lawrence, why do you do that? You just want to be skinny? Well, you know, when I started the program, I was 192, 195, and now I'm 172, 175. I try to range right around there. Thing about keto health is if you eat this way, you have to eat. You cannot just, oh, I'm not really hungry today, and not eat very much, because you have to constantly put the fat and you have to put the protein and you have to put everything in your body constantly, because that's what you're burning on. You're no longer burning on sugar and carbs and insulin. You're burning on fat, and that's very important that you continue to eat as much as you can. 3 meals a day, 2 meals a day, fast every once in a while. You know, people say, well, okay, so if you're not doing it to lose weight, why are you doing it? You know, if you decide to go on keto health diet, basically losing weight is going to happen for sure. I don't care what size you are. You are going to melt pounds away so fast, it's incredible. But that's only a secondary treat to the whole deal. The main thing is it makes your body healthy, and it's going to fight off things like diabetes. You know how many people in our country have diabetes? Especially once you get into the 40s, 50s, and 60 years old. It's incredible. It's incredible how many people are diabetic, and really if they just get off the sugars and stuff, most times that would have prevented that. You know, some people are going to say, well, if your family's history, yeah, that's true, the family history, but if you look back, maybe the family history was also, you know, everybody ate like crazy. Went to every buffet and just, you know, were very heavy people, and that's going to get you into diabetes. Just eat healthy. You can eat all you want to eat. You'll never go hungry. Just eat healthy instead of going in to a smorgasbord and just eating everything that's on the plate there. Everything that got laid out, you just gobble it, because almost every time, it's like the old saying, Thanksgiving meal comes by and afterwards everybody falls asleep. Yeah, because they ate all those carbs and stuff, and it's like the body, man, is just like and over processing, trying to get rid of that stuff. Hey, if you want to know about keto health, if you have any questions about it, I'll sure give you the directions on where to go and how to discover how to do this. I have no problem at all. You know, I talk about it every once in a while, but most people just kind of thumb their nose or roll their eyes or walk away. It's like, okay, I get it. You know, I learned, don't try to convince somebody, and I'm hoping I'm not doing that here. I'm not trying to convince you to do it. I'm just giving you the kind of straight facts. This is what would happen if you decided to go this way. It is not supposed to rain, but man, the clouds are starting to puff up. We'll see what happens. I brought my rain jacket. The Sylvan knows how to go through a storm for sure. Stopped for a little bit of lunch, caught me another bass. There we go. Seems like Indian Lake's got a lot of them about this size right here. Hello, buddy. Yep, he almost got off. Boy, he hit it. Once again, the booyah, that little spinner, black and chartreuse was the one. All right, buddy, I'll put you back in. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. You have you a good windy day. Woo! All right, bass number 2. Indian Lake's got a lot of them about this size right here. Hello, buddy. Yep, he almost got off. Boy, he hit it. Never know. You know, that's the thing. Like when it comes to hunting and stuff like that, you know, it's like, I've always heard when you're sitting in your deer stand and you're about ready to give up, just give it another hour. Try to pull something out of you to give it one more hour. It's just, I don't know what it is, but you just got to give it just a little bit more time sometimes. I'll go ahead and eat some lunch. Hopefully this wind will die down, but I don't know. It's almost like it's getting stronger, so we'll see. Anyways, one more in the boat makes 2. All right, so here's a question for the fishermen out there. Whenever you catch a fish, Do you think that, I've always heard of a fishing frenzy. You can actually start a frenzy up, you know, but I think that's with crappie and things like that. So when you catch a fish, do you think it's better, like in a little cove like this that I'm sitting right now, once I caught that bass, is it better to like go ahead, and I was planning on eating lunch anyways, go ahead and eat lunch, let the water settle down a little bit before you throw it again? Because it almost seems like to me like all the fish in this little cove, no, that thing, man, it got caught and somebody yanked it out of the water and threw it back in, and now his lips bleeding, and I don't know. Sometimes I just think you can overthink this fishing thing, but then again, there's got to be patterns to it. Do you think the fish get spooked for a little bit and then forget about it? Do the fish even have a memory? I don't know. Leave me a comment in case you know what your opinion is on that. I'm not sure myself. All right, I think that will conclude this little 2-day adventure we just went on. Well, it was windy out there. I'm glad I got to put Sylvan on Indian Lake. I bet there is a lot of spots on Indian Lake that would be really good. But you know, when it's blowing 15 mile an hour plus like that, it's just so hard to try to anchor anywhere in a lake like that, trying to get a foothold so you can kind of work your baits and everything like that. It'd be like working a river. I'm sure if you went on a river and had a pretty strong current, that's what it'd be like. You don't work against the current constantly, you just work with the current. You have to work with the current. Pretty good 2 days of fishing. Didn't catch a lot, but learned a lot. I hope you did too. I'm glad you came along. I'll be talking to you on the next adventure. Not sure what it is. Might veer away from the fishing, let the fishing take a break for a while, and think about maybe doing something like that. Been wanting to take my doggies camping. Maybe I'll do that. Go back to a video with that. Take both of them. We'll go camping. Let them enjoy the outdoors, and they'll really like that. And probably last night it wouldn't have been a bad idea to have my 2 dogs with me, because that was a freaky night last night. Oh, you're not gonna believe this, Sammy. We walked out on this boat dock. You see how these lily pads are right here? Sammy decided that he could walk on water. He hit that and went straight underneath the water. And at the same time, Jazz is getting stung by a wasp. You all right, buddy? And Jazzy, you got stung, didn't you? Got stung on your leg, girly. Yeah, okay. No big deal. All right. Sam, we'll make it.